Welcome sa E-SKUL ng Bayan. Andito ako para samahan kayong mag-review. Tara, aral!
Hi guys! In this video, we will discuss classifying numbers or yung mga sets of numbers natin. So what do I mean by that? Ito yung mga terms like rational, irrational, real numbers, integers, whole numbers. So kung medyo nalilito kayo kung which is which, this video is for you. So let's start! So, meron tayo ditong diagram ng relationships ng ating sets of numbers. So, yung biggest set of numbers natin or grouping ng numbers natin is what we call the complex numbers. So, in this video, magsisimula tayo mula sa baba, paakyat. Okay? So, let's start with our whole numbers. So, ang whole numbers natin, included dyan ang zero and positive numbers. So, yung positive numbers natin are also called are natural numbers or counting numbers. So, take note na pag sinabi natin counting numbers, we start at 1. Hindi included ang 0. So, our positive numbers by definition are numbers that we used in counting. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay? Next, we have the number 0. So again, ang number 0 natin is not a counting number. And wala siyang sign. So ang 0 and positive numbers natin as a group is called the whole numbers. So whole numbers are used to quantify discrete or whole objects. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So kung meron tayong whole numbers, meron din tayong negative numbers. Negative numbers are negative counterparts ng ating natural or positive numbers. So we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. As a group, yung tawag natin sa ating whole numbers and negative numbers is integers. Okay? So ang integers natin include 0, our positive numbers, and our negative numbers. So para ma-imagine natin, here's a number line. So, sa gitna ng ating number line, meron tayo 0, which is neither positive nor negative. On the right side of our 0, andyan ang ating positive numbers. On the left side, andyan naman ang ating negative numbers. So, dito makikita nyo when we say whole numbers, we refer to 0 and positive numbers. Pag sinabi naman nating integers, kasama na dyan ang negative numbers. So, kung meron tayong integers, we have non-integers. So, non-integers are those numbers that are fractional or non-discrete. Ano ibig sabihin nun? So, ito yung mga hindi natin kayang i-express in terms of integers. So, kasama dyan ang ating fractions. Examples of our fractions are 1/2, 3/4, 82 over 1,043. So, those are some of our fractions. Terminating decimals are also considered non-integers. Pag sinabi nating terminating decimals, ito yung mga decimals natin na may dulong number or defined kung ano yung last digit niya. For example, 1.34. Ang last digit niya is 4. Okay? So yung 1.34 natin can actually be expressed in terms of a fraction. And lastly, we have our non-terminating but repeating decimals. So, ano ang ibig sabihin nun? Pag sinabi nating non-terminating, hindi tumitigil yung decimal natin. For example, 0.33333. But as you can notice, yung 3 natin is repeating. Okay? So, may paulit-ulit tayong number sa ating decimal. So, ang ating non-terminating but repeating decimals is pwede din nating i-express as a fraction. So, for example, yung 0.333 and so on, this is actually just equal to 1/3. So, kaya ang ating non-terminating but repeating decimals fall under the category of non-integers. True or false, all decimal numbers are non-integers. So, bago natin to sagutin, asan ba ang ating non-integers pagdating sa ating number line? So, here we have our number line from earlier. Ang non-integers natin are actually in between our integers. So, in this case, sa 0 and positive 1, marami tayong non-integers in between. In the same way, between negative 3 and negative 2, marami din tayong non-integers. Okay, so pagdating sa ating number line, ang ating non-integers ay makikita natin in between our integers. So in this number line, makikita natin ang ating tinatawag na rational numbers. So rational numbers are real numbers that can be expressed as a ratio or a fraction. So kapag meron kang number na pwede mo siyang ma-convert into a fraction, ito ay considered na rational number. So for example, an example of an integer is 5. Pwede nating i-express as a fraction, 15/3. Earlier, pinakita ko rin na yung mga non-integers natin ay pwede nating i-express as a fraction. So if we have rational numbers, meron tayong irrational numbers. So irrational numbers are real numbers that cannot be expressed as a ratio or a fraction. So dito kasama ang ating non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. So, since meron tayong decimals sa ating non-integers at meron din tayong decimals sa ating irrational numbers, how do we classify these? So, here we have our irrational numbers and non-integers. Sa non-integers, ang kasamang decimals doon ay ang ating terminating decimals and ang ating non-terminating but repeating. Okay, so take note, repeating decimals. Sa irrational numbers naman natin, andun ang non-terminating, non-repeating. Remember, pag irrational numbers, hindi na nga humihinto, hindi pa paulit-ulit. Okay? So, ito yung mga examples natin para mas makita nyo yung difference nila. Okay. Our non-integers would include 0.45, 1/2, which is just equal to 0.5, 1/3, which is equal to 0.33333. And lastly, 2.4345. So, meron tayong last digit or terminating yung ating decimal. How about our irrational numbers? An example of an irrational number is pi. Okay? Ano yung pi? Yun yung ratio ng ating diameter and circumference ng isang circle. So, the value of pi is equal to 3.1415 something, something, something. So, mahaba ang value ng pi. How about E, or Euler's number? This is equal to 2.71828. Actually, umulit ata yung 1828 dito. Pero yung mga sumunod na numbers is hindi na repeating. Pi and Euler's number are examples of irrational numbers. What else? Square root of 2, which is equal to 1.41421 and so on. So basically, lahat ng square root ng numbers na hindi perfect square are examples of irrational numbers. Okay, what do we mean when we say perfect square? Perfect square are those number na integer ang square root. For example, 64. 64 is a perfect square. 8 times 8 is equal to 64. So the square root of 64 is 8. Another example of an irrational number is cube root of 7. Basically, dahil hindi rin perfect cube ang 7, yung cube root niya is an irrational number. Okay? So, going back sa question natin earlier, true or false? All decimal numbers are non-integers. False. Okay? Kasi as you can see sa examples natin bago lang, yung ating non-repeating and non-terminating decimals are called irrational numbers. They are not non-integers. So far, lahat ng na-discuss natin are real numbers. So, here's our number line. Ang ating irrational numbers ay makikita rin in between our integers. Katulad ng ating non-integers. Kasi nga, di ba, they are both decimal numbers. Okay? So, if we have our real numbers, meron tayong tinatawag na imaginary numbers. So, these are the numbers na multiples of I. What is I? I is equal to the square root of -1. So, examples of this are I, 3I, -7I, or ano pa ba? 3 times square root of -5. Okay, those are our imaginary numbers. So, ano ang complex numbers? Basically, ito ay combination ng imaginary and real numbers. So, for example, we have 5, which is also equal to 5 plus 0i. Kaya considered din siya as a complex number. So, other examples are 6 plus 7i. We have a real part and an imaginary part. 6 as a real number, and 7i as an imaginary number. Okay, another example is negative I plus 2. Negative I as the imaginary part and 2 as the real number. So another way of presenting our sets of numbers is through a Venn diagram. Makikita nyo, yung ating real numbers is a subset of our complex numbers. Ano ibig sabihin when we say subset? It's a part of a bigger set. Okay? So, makikita nyo dito, walang may label ng imaginary numbers. Wala ring irrational numbers. Kasi ganito yan. If you look at the complex numbers at yung real numbers is a subset of complex numbers. Whatever is not included sa real numbers, mapupunta siya sa complex numbers. So, for example, if I say I, saan ito makikita? Nasa loob ng blue circle, pero nasa labas ng red circle. So, para maintindihan nyo ang sinasabi ko, let's classify some numbers. So, here's a quiz. Classify the numbers on the left side of your screen. So, ilalagay nyo kung ito ba ay complex number, o kaya naman part ng set of real numbers, set of rational numbers, set of integers, set of whole numbers, or set of natural numbers. I'll give you time to answer this. Tapos, sagutan natin agad right after. Let's classify these numbers. Magsimula tayo sa square root of negative 9. Square root of negative 9 is equal to, what's square root of 9? 3. Square root of negative 1, that's I. So, saan mapupunta ang 3i? 3i is a complex number. Pero real number ba siya? Hindi. So, dito lang siya sa labas ng red oval, pero nasa loob siya ng complex numbers. How about 4? 4 is a complex number. Pero, real number din siya. So, pwede siya dito. But 4 is also a rational number kasi pwede natin siyang i-express in terms of a fraction of two integers. We can say 16 over 4 or 8 over 2. So, it's a rational number. Pero integer ba siya? Yes. So, pwede natin siyang ilagay sa loob ng set of integers. Now, let's check. Is it a whole number? Yes, kasi discrete siya, 4. At the same time, natural number din siya. So, dito siya sa orange natin or sa natural numbers. Negative 16. So, alam natin na ang negative 16 is also a real number, a rational number, and an integer. Question, is it a whole number? No, kasi ang whole numbers natin would only include natural or positive numbers and 0. So, dito siya sa integers magpo-fall under. How about 0.46? 0.46 is a terminating decimal. So, pagdating dito, saan siya mapupunta? Rational or irrational numbers? Papasok siya sa rational numbers. 23 over 9. Complex number siya. At the same time, real number din siya. Now, is it a rational number? Yes, kasi na-express mo siya in terms of a fraction of two integers. So, 23 over 9. 0.38133333. So, yung ibig sabihin ng bar na to is umuulit ang 3. 0.38133333 is, ano ulit kapag non-terminating but repeating? Rational number. So, 0.38133 bar. How about square root of 10? 10 is a perfect or non-perfect square? Non-perfect square ito. So, kapag meron tayong non-perfect square, ang result natin is a non-terminating and non-repeating. So, meron tayong non-terminating, non-repeating decimal dito. Is it a complex number? Yes. Is it a real number? Yes. Is it a rational number? No, kasi non-repeating siya. Kaya dito lang siya magpo-fall under real numbers, square root of 10. How about negative square root of 64? 64 is a perfect square. This is equal to negative of, ano yung square root of 64? 8. Negative 8. So, negative 8 is a real number, a rational number, and an integer. Pero whole number ba siya? Hindi. Katulad ng negative 16, ang negative 8 or ang negative square root of 64 is an integer. 2 pi. Pi is an example of an irrational number kasi yung value niya is 3.14, 15, and so on. Non-terminating, non-repeating decimal din siya. So it is an irrational real number. So dito siya sa real numbers. Hindi siya makakapasok sa oval ng rational numbers. How about cube root of 27? Is 27 a perfect cube? Yes. 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. So cube root of 27 over 7 is just equal to 3 over 7. 3 over 7 is a fraction, so it is a rational number. So I have a question. If I ask, is 4 a whole number? Yes, okay? It's a natural number na whole number din. How about negative 16? Is negative 16 a whole number? No, kasi outside siya nitong circle for the whole number. Pero it's an integer, at the same time rational number din siya, at the same time real number din siya. How about 3i? Is 3i a natural number? No, kasi yung natural number is nasa loob ng real numbers. And yung 3i, it's outside the set of real numbers, pero nasa loob siya ng set of complex numbers. Now, let's answer some true or false questions. Again, first, bibigyan ko muna kayo ng time to answer this. I hope you're done. Here are the answers. Number 1, all rational numbers can be expressed as a fraction. True or false? This is true. Kasi by definition, ang ating rational numbers are numbers that can be expressed as a fraction of two integers. Number 2, a number can be both an integer and a non-integer. Answer here is false. Makikita nyo sa diagram natin earlier na ang integers natin and non-integers are separate sets or disjoint sets. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin ng disjoint sets ay wala silang common element. So kapag ang number ay integer na, imposible siyang maging non-integer. Number 3, 0 is a positive number. This statement is false kasi ang 0 ay hindi considered na positive or negative number. But 0 is a whole number. Number 4, irrational numbers are non-repeating, terminating numbers. This one is false kasi dapat pag irrational numbers, hindi na nga repeating, hindi pa terminating, kaya irrational numbers. Number 5, 0 is a whole number. Okay, nasagot na natin ito kanina. This statement is true. Under the set of whole numbers, andyan ang ating 0 and set of positive integers. Number 6, a square root of a negative number is an imaginary number. So again, ano nga ulit yung imaginary numbers natin? Imaginary numbers are numbers that are multiples of I. I is equal to square root of negative 1. So this is true. A square root of a negative number would be an imaginary number. Number 7, a square root of a positive number is always a non-integer. False. Bakit false? Kasi hindi naman always non-integer ang square root ng isang positive number. An example would be 9. 9 is a positive number. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 is an integer. So, minsan, sa mga true or false question, take note of keywords like always, sometimes, must be. So, kapag kunwari, meron kang statement na may word na always, maghanap ka lang ng isang exception, pwede mo nang sabihin na yung statement is false. So, to make this statement true, dapat a square root of a non-perfect square number is always a non-integer. Number 8, real numbers are also complex numbers. This is true kasi under the set of complex numbers, nandun din ang ating set of real numbers. Number 9, whole numbers are also called counting numbers. False. So, lahat ng counting numbers natin are considered whole numbers. Pero hindi lahat ng whole numbers natin are counting numbers. Anong whole number natin ang hindi counting number? Ang number 0. Okay? So to make this statement true, dapat natural numbers or positive numbers are also called counting numbers. Last item. Integers include positive and negative numbers only. False. Kasi hindi lang positive and negative integers. Kunwari wala yung word na only. This statement would be true kasi indeed, integers include positive and negative numbers. Pero since nandiyan yung keyword na only, naging false siya kasi it also includes 0. Okay, so that's it for our lesson on classifying numbers. Our next lesson would be number theories.